Good morning, beautiful. It is lovely to see you very late today. Had a wonderful time in the Heartfield for Abundant Manifestation. It is an amazing creation space. And I'm just looking forward to more amazing creators who want to change their lives joining us in there. It's a very select space and it's transformational. And I say that and I think, oh, that word is so hackneyed. But it is, and I love it, and it's just amazing. Every month it's amazing. So if that's what you want, you know where to find it. Right now, it's currently not raining, but I can't say it's going to stay like that. So we're inside, and I got rocks. And these are all sweet little kind of soft, lovely little things. This is a little piece of spirit quartz, spirit amethyst. And actually this is a wee flower, because see the bottom is flat. And it's made this little flower, this little bulge that, it looks like a flower. Hello everybody, it's great to see you jumping on. It's always lovely that you choose to spend your time with me. Jocelyn, it's you. Robin, it's you. G'day, gorgeous. So, we just got these really sweet little rocks today. They're all That's my phone making a big noise. It doesn't sound so big to me, but I know it sounds big to you. What else have we got here? We have, it's interesting, maybe because we're talking about relationships today, we have two pieces of this really cool mineral called Stishtite. Good morning, Mike. It's great to see you. Good morning, everybody. Even if I don't know who you are, it's lovely to have you with us. So it's this kind of purple thing, and it's kind of shiny, and it almost feels soapy when you rub it. You can probably see it's a kind of a soapy surface. It's smooth, and you just rub, and it just feels really nice. And it's purple, but there's also these sort of orangey bits on it. Indira, it's lovely to see you. So, what do I do with all of them? They sit on the shelf. They enjoy each other as a community, and from time to time I show them off to you. I don't work with crystals, if that's what you're wondering. I just enjoy them. I used to sort of do crystal work, but I always knew that they're just little consciousnesses having an experience like we, maybe a big consciousness having an experience. Everything is consciousness, everything is frequency, and I just enjoy them. So there you go. I used to do crystal constructs. That was kind of fun, but it's just another way of working with energy. Doesn't matter how you choose to work with energy. Everything, one way or another, is intention energy. Last but not least, blue lace agate. And look, the light comes through it. It's translucent. I love this. It's just so soft. You know, it tumbles beautifully, right? Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. So let's see if we can stop that. Yeah. I love this stuff because it's so soft, and it sort of doesn't matter. Any piece of blue lace agate is just glorious. So those are our little rocks today, and they're all very soft and sweet. And today I want to talk about a question that one of you asked, which is pretty much along the lines of, my family disappeared out of my life 20 years ago. It's really hard for me to accept the fact that happened. In fact, I haven't. I still wonder if it could have been different. What did I do wrong? I still feel regret and guilt about it. That, right? And I've expanded this post to not just talk about families, but any relationship that we just feel, oh, God, could it not have been different? Oh, I wish it was still here. I feel really bad about that. I feel really sad about that, that, okay? That's what this live is about. And I read the words of the question and I thought, first thing, because when I want to put something together that's a little bit layered, I often just start by reading the words and then just making notes. Sometimes I just know immediately, but I quite often have to pull this out. And I thought the first thing about this is that this person's stuck in the past. Kerry, it's lovely to see you. And by the way, we all get stuck in the past. What do I mean by stuck in the past? If you have a memory, whether it was yesterday, last week, a year ago, 10 years, 20 years, however long ago, and that memory has pain or anger or whatever or trauma attached to it, and you still remember the memory, You're firing and wiring that set of synapses because it was a powerful enough event that you remembered it, which means that there's an engram in your brain that represents that experience. And that frequency of that thought means that when that thought fires, those neurotransmitters cross the gap and mean that you get neuropeptides. That mean you get a chemical expression in your body which gives you the feeling that goes with the memory. And it's like it's now. So in that way, when you think that thought and have that memory, you are stuck in the past because you're still experiencing the same feelings from however long ago. So, and you've got to think about that as just with its biological impact that it has in our bodies, right? Because, you're sending whatever that chemical signal is, you keep on sending it every time you think that memory or feel the guilt or feel the regret or feel the grief or feel the loss, stuck in the past. Literally, physically, stuck in the past. Even though it's 20, 30, 40 years later, it's still like it's now. As far as the body is concerned. And in our minds, you think, well, that was however long ago. But as far as the body's concerned, it's now. When that neural net is firing and that chemistry is pouring, it's now. So we are literally having the experience now, even though we're thinking, oh, that was in the past. It's not, it's now. Really, it's now. So that's physically what's happening. David, good morning. And then energetically, the emotion that we share with people in relationships, be they unhealthy, painful, quote unquote bad relationships or good ones, literally binds us together. The typical, the two oxygen atoms, you get two oxygen atoms that go together, it's O2, that's oxygen gas, right? The thing that holds those two oxygen atoms together to make the gas is energy, and they share the energy. Now, and I'm just totally remembering what I've learned from Joe Dispenza here, so let me give my credit where credit's due. And I'll come back to you, Carrie, because I'll lose my thought otherwise, but thank you. So you have the oxygen atoms and they're sharing the energy and they're bound together by it. But, with your best friend, don't you notice that you complain about the same things? And you like the same things? And you hate the same things? And you sympathize with each other about the same things, and you have the same conversation the same way, and you feel the same way together? So you're actually sharing energy in your relationships. All of them. Every single relationship, any connection that you have with anybody or anything or any place, actually, there is energy that you share with that person, that place, that thing. And the energy that you share with them actually binds you into that relationship. And what happens when you change is that, and we've all seen this or experienced it, when you decide that you don't want to complain anymore. For example, let's say that you're used to getting together with your best girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever and gossiping about whoever. And that's been the thing. You just love, gossiping and picking holes in people. And then one day you decide, oh, hang on a minute, I don't really like the fact that I'm just habitually this critical, gossipy person. I don't want to do that. So you meet your best friend that you've done this with for the last 5 years for coffee, and they go off in the same route. And you say, oh, hang on a minute, I don't want to do that, and you try to steer the conversation somewhere else. Now, that other person who's been in that relationship with you where you were sharing the gossip and critical energy, then has to decide whether they're going to, because you're now a different energy. So you've actually kind of broken your bond with that person. You're not sharing the same bond of energy anymore. Because you're not in that critical, gossipy space, and they still are. So they either have the choice to say, well, I want to stay critical and gossipy, and then they will stop being your friend. It may take some time for both of you to accept it, but they will stop being your friend. Or they will say, oh, hey, okay, let's talk about something else. And they remain your friend because now they're inhabiting more of the energy that you're inhabiting. And so you still celebrate the same things, and you still get together, and you still like the same coffee and the same snacks, but now you don't share the energy of gossip and judgment between you. So the energy that you share is different. So that's an example of a friendship. But with a broken relationship, the trauma of whatever it was that broke that relationship, be it death or divorce or betrayal or whatever, right? That also creates an energetic bond, and it keeps you there. So not only are you thinking and feeling and you're having the same chemistry in your body and you're programming your body into a genetic destiny because of those hormones of stress, push the same buttons for whatever it is that is going to happen, because that's just science, okay? I'm not being negative, this is just truth. But you have an energetic bond with people with whom you've experienced suffering. And you have an energetic bond with whom you feel grief or loss or regret. And when you go through the cycle of thinking, oh, how could it have been different? What could I have done? That's still in that same thing. It's actually strengthening that bond of stuckness. And how to break it. Yeah, this is where this is where, great question, Jocelyn. This is where the work comes in. Because if you ask a scientist or a chemist what it takes to break those two oxygen atoms apart, so it's not gas, it's just atoms, they'll say, a lot of energy. Sandy, good morning. Takes a lot of energy to break the emotional bonds that we have with people and with our past and with the memories and how much regret we have. And what it boils down to is what you hear me say a lot. You actually have to overcome those emotions and stop feeling them. And remember that you're addicted to them. You're used to them. They're who you've become. You think that you are a grieved or lost or regretful or bereft person. No, you're just really accustomed to feeling like that. Now, before I go down that path further, the thing I want to say is if you put in the energy to break the bond and to let go of the idea that family is forever, Robin, oh my God, that's such a big one. Family, they're the closest people to you in your life. Pardon? So many people for whom that's not true. It really isn't. Case in point. I love my family, but, we're not close. It took me a very long time to get used to the idea that was how it was, and I should just, deal with it. And the point I wanted to get to is that I had to face up to myself and how I felt about it, and I had to accept how it was before it could ever change. Because me desperately hanging on to how I wanted it to be was another thing of staying in that energy of my family isn't how I want it to be. I want to feel close to my sisters. I want to feel close to my parents. I want to feel, and I was continuing to stay in that energy of this isn't right. This isn't what I want. This isn't how and I had to really get real with myself. And that can be very hard because we really want things to be different. Come into right now and say, okay, this is how it is. If I'm investing energy into how I think it should have been, how I wish it was, that's not now. That isn't investing energy into me now. And the thing is, as I managed to break my way out of my old thinking and feeling and being about how I thought my family should be, what I noticed was that somehow the relationships got easier. And nobody else really changed, but I did. Because I was no longer inhabiting the space of, this just isn't how I want it to be, and I don't feel good about it, and trauma and pain and blah, 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 and memories and not being in the present moment, not being here and now. And it all got easier. I was like, I didn't do anything consciously. I wasn't working on fixing my family relationships. But because I broke the energetic and emotional bond with my past and how I felt about how it was, and started to work on me and loving myself and being more complete in myself. And this is a little bit of the how, Jocelyn. There is an element of surrender going, okay, this is how it is. It may never be any different. I think we have to accept that too. But what happens is that when we do finally give up and surrender into right now and what we have right now and who I can choose to be right now, that's breaking the bond that's been holding those two atoms together in the way that they've been for so long. And that makes room for something new to come in. But you can't predict what it is. You can't say for sure whether those people are going to become closer to you again or not. But I do know that is quite surprising because inevitably, the stories that I have heard, and there's a few of them that I have listened to because they're my heroes, the people in Joe's testimonial reel who have really changed their lives, and some of them had very difficult family situations, and they changed themselves and they broke the energetic bond between themselves and their past and those family members that they had all that shit with. They took all their energy back and said, okay, I'm just going to work on me now, and I'm not going to have any expectation about anybody else and how it should be and how I think it should be and all of that. And as they became more whole in themselves, something unexpected and strange and quantum, to be honest, because we're all energetically entangled, happened, and relationships got better, and sometimes really dramatically. Yeah, you got to do you. And then you do set yourself free from all of that other stuff. But we are very, very programmed with the idea that family is where it's at, and they should be there for you. And if you don't have your family close around you, then you are somehow maybe not less. So for some people it is less. Or you don't have family, what's wrong with you? Or you poor thing. Yeah. And absolutely you can have family that are not biological. I'm fortunate, I have both. I just had to realise that my family are really close to me and they're not related to me by blood. So, but we get stuck in this idea that if you're not really close to your family, that somehow you should be sad at Christmas. I mean, why do you think so many people are sad in the festive season? Because they see the archetype, the fireplace, the meal, everybody around the table, and think, well, that's not me. What's wrong with me? I'm alone. I'm less. I'm not whole. All of that. And so, and then you get all the stuff about regret and loss and what, where is my family? And, it just becomes this big thing. But when we can come back to ourselves and let go, and that could be a process of how we think it should be, come right into now, and just as you said, Sharon, do ourselves, create ourselves, love on ourselves, become more whole in ourselves. In the doing of that, you break your energetic and emotional bonds with the past. And when you do that, it's the most loving thing to do, because it actually sets other people free as well. It sets them free to change in whatever way they choose to. It sets them free. Two oxygen atoms stuck together, shared energy. You stop sharing the energy with them. You stop playing the I'm suffering because game or whatever it is. Well, that affects the other oxygen atom as well. Just like the story I told about the friend who decides either to stop gossiping and stay with you, or to keep gossiping and go find someone else that they want to gossip with who wants to gossip with them, and then they'll share that energy with them instead of with you. You don't know what the other people are going to choose. But you do know that if you choose yourself and you come into now and what you have and what you can create and love and be in for yourself, you're going to set them free to either be closer to you and enjoy more of what you have, or to go and be what they're choosing to be with someone else. And either way, it's okay. And the process of coming into being okay with what people have chosen and whether they're always going to stay like that, well, that's, that's part of the grief. But we can get really stuck in loss and just going round and round the cycle of thinking, oh, could it... was there something I could have... And I've done all of this, okay? I have been there in my head about my own challenges. Could I do it differently? Oh, I wish it was different. Oh, I wish I didn't feel so awful inside about that memory that happened 30 years ago. So, now, in terms of my body, I've had to break the energetic and emotional bonds with my past in order to really get present. All just in different levels and stages, and you don't have to deal with it. Yeah, you finally figured out family doesn't have to be close to you. Same, absolutely the same. And, it wasn't this thing that sort of, oh, I get it. It was a slow process of realising I had to let go of my expectations and ideas about how it should be. Yeah, so you had a different Christmas, Robin. That's great. So you let go of the idea of how it should be enough to allow something else to come in. And it's lovely to feel loved and accepted, and it's lovely to share something with someone who really wants to do what you want to do, see? So you're doing it already. And to realise that the more you let go of how it was, Bernadette, it's great to see you! The more you let go of how it was and realise that even if it quote unquote went back the way it was, it would not feel like that to you now. It wouldn't feel now like it did to you then, because you are a different person now. You're somebody else now. You're not the same as you were 40 years ago. Not possible. How many times has your body turned over? How many different experiences have you had that have changed your brain? You are not the same person. You can't go back. But I think we have this idea that we can. It's like, no. So we have to let go of these archetypal programmed ideas about how we think our family should be. Get really real with ourselves about how it actually is. Face up to the fact that some of the feelings we have about that may be pretty strong, could be painful. Move through them. Don't get stuck in them. Because, of course, that's the whole thing. We have been stuck in them. And love on ourselves. Choose what's right for us. Let other people who want to be with us, be with us. Oh, parting thought just came into my head, and it's a really good one. I was watching an interview. Joe Dispenza, Lewis Howes, they're great buds, and Lewis is a great interviewer. And the subject is actually about relationships. I think I posted it in the feed a little while, a week or so back. It's so good. And long story short, Joe had been fed up with being asked questions about relationships and how do you find your soulmate and tra-la-la. Then the 3-week book tour that never seemed to end. In the very end, he was completely over it. And this attractive-looking reporter asked him, how come I can't find my soulmate? And like I said, he was over it. And he just sort of looked at her and said, "Can I ask you a question?" She said, "Yeah." "Would you go out with you?" Because he was over-explaining it. It's like, oh, would you be your friend? Would you be your lover? Would you be your family member? Would you be your father, your son, your daughter, your sister? Would you be that person? Make a list of everything that you want your ideal person or people to be, write it down, and then become it. That's what he says. It's true. So, once again, quoting the master, but I think that's so apt. Whatever you want in your life from relationships, become that. And then you'll find those that want to share that energy with you. That's how it works. And there's frequently a gap where the people who don't want to be that with you will go away. And you'll be in the void and you'll think, oh, I broke it. No, you're just on your way. So keep going. I don't know, Robin. I don't even think that that's the question to ask, because I fall into that trap. Will I ever fix this? That's not the point. Because that's about tomorrow. Right now, who are you being? Right now, are you focused on your fear or on your future? Are you focused on what you haven't got or what you have got? Are you focused on who you've been or what you're becoming? Who are you choosing to be now? That is the only question that I have to answer many times. Yeah, it is a really great question, Bernadette. It's pretty, in your face. But there you go. So, and in the whole of time, Robin, I'm sure you've healed completely a million times. We all have. We just come here for another experience. I know I'm over time. I could talk about this a lot. There you go. See, hold up the mirror. Become what you want to see in it. Big love. I'm looking forward to replying to your comments, and maybe we'll talk more about this on Friday, because tomorrow is Insight Thursday. It's going to be interesting to see what I'm going to tell you about my week. Until then, very much love. Thank you so much for joining me at the later time. Back to the normal time tomorrow. Bye-bye.